On November the 22nd, 2019, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on UTTV Channel 97 and on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement be made a part of this meeting. Let me ask all to rise for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Here.
Calvin?
Here.
Mr. Corson? Absent. Mr. Young?
Here.
Mayor Plummer?
Here. Would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from November the 12th, both the regular and closed session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Hearing none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Calvin?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Scott, do you have anything for us this evening?
Just one thing this evening, Mayor and committee members. Just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, healthy one, and for everybody to take notice that township offices will be closed on Thursday, November 28th, and Friday, November 29th, in observance of Thanksgiving. And with respect to trash collection, if the day falls on Thursday, November 28th, your trash and recycling will be collected on Friday, November 29th, and if your trash collection day falls February 29th, your trash and recycling will be collected on Monday, December the 2nd.
So both trash and recyclables will be the day after if you have a Thursday. Correct. And if you have a Friday, it'll be Monday.
That's right. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Barbara.
I also would like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and I just have one announcement to make. We have a notice here from the Trinity United Methodist Church, and they are going to hold a community Thanksgiving dinner at the church at 12 noon on Thursday, November 28th. And it says doors open at 12 o'clock and dinner is being served at 12:30. All are welcome.
Great.
And that's all I have. Steve?
Daniel.
Nothing at this time, but we do have closed session items.
Paul.
Thank you. First, I just want to report to committee that the Strathmere Beach Field did start over the weekend. It started on Saturday. When they did the precondition surveys, there was a lot more erosion than what they had, for sand loss than what they had done. They're still trying to determine how they're going to accommodate it because there's not enough funds in the contract to do all of the sand that's required. So they're going to be working on adjusting that template. And I'll probably know more tomorrow at our weekly progress meeting. Was out there today. I did email some updated photos to committee this afternoon, and kind of already looks. They're kind of pumping north towards Seaview Avenue, and they've already got the dune partially built up back up in front of Seaview Avenue, and they're starting to move towards the natural area. So by tomorrow, so it should be a lot better now. And you can already see the channel that kind of cuts across the front of the Strathmere, and that's already starting to close up. So that'll be good news for us. And they're anticipating probably another 20 days for construction to complete the project. Nice. And then the other thing I wanted to report was that the county did get out and put up the four-way stop at Church and Stagecoach that is operational. I think they had put out some variable message signs just on Church just to kind of give an additional alert to motorists that there's a changed traffic condition at that intersection.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Barbara.
Nothing is doing this morning.
Committeeman Coggins.
Well, I'd like to wish everybody happy holidays, and I think Mrs. Ludi probably isn't taking enough credit because Standard & Poor's issued us a AA rating on our bond and noted that we were very strong in our budgetary performance. strong in our budgetary flexibility, strong in liquidity, and also our very strong debt and contingent liability profile, which is our overall net debt. They also said that our rating could actually rise if we continue to increase our surplus. So I'd just like to commend Mrs. Ludi for her excellent financial performance in helping us get that bond rating.
Great, thank you.
Duly done.
Very nice. Committeeman Youngs.
I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and a safe one if you're traveling to your family. I had the pleasure Saturday of going down. We had our Pee-wees, our JVs, and our varsity football teams were in the championship. Our Pee-wees lost with, I guess, the last play of the game, 28-24. Our JVs won 32-6, and our varsity beat an undefeated Middle Township team 49-7. So with that, I'd also like to request we do resolutions, and I'll work on getting all the names of all the players and the coaches so we can get them in here and honor them. Also, if anybody was watching, most of Ocean City football team is our kids also. And they made it to second place in South Jersey finals, losing to a great Shawnee team, big Shawnee team. And it's, when you look at our JV program and then what they're doing when they get to Ocean City, it's really, we have a lot to be proud of the program for putting out here. So, and I'd like to thank Barb and Clerk's office and Craig and your whole department for the work you put in to make Township Hall the way it was for tonight. We've made a pretty big undertaking out of it compared to what we used to do. And I tell you, the hall looks fantastic lit up. And, you know, I want to commend you and PD and your guys that are doing this work for us. It's, I got so many compliments tonight, it's ridiculous. So, other than that, football did extend an invitation to Township Committee to the banquet on December the 8th at the Flanders. I need to get it counted in by Wednesday night, so if anybody can, that wants to go, let me know. And other than that, that's all I have.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Barr.
All right, I have nothing to report, but again, it was a great ceremony tonight with the tree lighting and our special guest star, Santa Claus, showing up. And I'd
The
just
real
like to,
Santa
the
Claus.
real Santa Claus. And I would like to just wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
And I also echo my colleagues for the Thanksgiving season. I would ask, you know, that for those individuals that may have an opportunity to help those that are less fortunate, besides, you know, Thanksgiving, there are a number of food banks throughout the township. And really the Toys for Tots, where I know a number of the families who have and are in need of help, are fortunate to be able to obtain, you know, full Thanksgiving dinners and then also into the Christmas holiday, you know, dinners and toys for some of our tots that are in the township. So I would ask those that would like to donate to contact at least one of your churches for the food bank. We have a Toys for Tots box out here to collect toys, and they're kept locally. So we work with the Knights of Columbus. They have a huge drive at the Christmas season where they provide over 250 families with food and toys. So please do what you can. And I also would like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And it's 30 days to Christmas from today, so not much time to plan for big holiday, but it's always a great time of the year. So with that, let's move on, Barbara.
Oh, Paul's got something.
Oh, sorry.
Mayor, I apologize, I forgot to bring something up. At the last Township Committee meeting, we had adopted a resolution for the DOT concurring or recommending for those two different alternatives along Route 9, both at Harbor Road and downtown Marmora. And after they received the resolution, there's some wording in there that how we describe their planning process where we called it a limited scope project, and it's really part of a full concept development scope. And I just would like to request authorization to amend that resolution to kind of acknowledge it has nothing to do or affect the alternatives that we've selected. It's just really acknowledging their project development path way for those projects.
You can do this by a voice vote, a second amendment. It really just is the terminology. It was on the plans, but apparently that was a mistake on their end, and they want to call it something else. So it's just the naming of the plan, that's all.
So motion to make the amendment.
Right, amend the resolution accordingly.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Abstain?
Abstain. Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried with 3 in favor. Okay, and we'll move on to the resolutions.
Please.
Item number 1, honoring Alexander Brown on attaining the designation of Eagle Scout.
Move the resolution?
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 2, appointing Michelle Sampson as Chief Emergency Medical Technician to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Absolutely, yes. Congratulations, Michelle.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Joe.
Item number 3, appointing Melissa Coker as Deputy Chief of the Emergency Medical Technician to the Upper Township Division of Emergency Medical Services.
Move the resolution?
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes. Congratulations to Melissa as well.
Motion is carried.
Big shoes to fill, both of them.
Item number 4, appointing Lawrence Cole as Recreation Leader to the Upper Township Public Works Department.
Move the resolution.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 5, authorizing the mayor and township clerk to sign a contract with Marsh & McLennan Agency, LLC, for insurance and broker consultant services.
Motion authorized.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, authorizing a contract with TAG Consulting Group for maintenance of the township fixed asset accounting and reporting system.
Motion authorized.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 7, canceling and refunding tax on exempt property for Block 453, Lot 328.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 8, authorizing a building and electrical permit fee refund to Solar City Corporation, Tesla Energy, for 2 Staples Court in Upper Township.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 9, authorizing the mayor and WSP USA Incorporated to sign and submit an application to the NJDEP for a CAFRA permit for the construction of the Beasley's Point Park.
Move the resolution?
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes. And hold on one second. Paul, tomorrow is the meeting where the county will hopefully approve our funding for Beasley's Point?
Yes, that's correct.
Can you let us know when the good news comes out?
I will.
Great.
Okay, item number 10, under ordinances, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 21, 2019, an ordinance establishing salaries for the Township of Upper for the calendar year 2020, and the public hearing on this would be December 16th.
Motion to introduce.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 11, under discussion, Cape May County realignment of Stagecoach Road at Old Tuckahoe Road alternatives.
Paul?
Thank you. For several years, myself and the county engineer have been discussing the realignment of Stagecoach Road as it terminates out to Tuckahoe Road, Old Tuckahoe Road at the primary, or the elementary school. As everybody knows, it kind of comes out there at the Batters Creek Memorial, and, you know, as Stagecoach Road crosses St. Martin's, and as it goes out there, it creates several different intersections, almost conflicting, as well as when you're at Stagecoach Road, it's a very severe angle to look back towards your left at the traffic coming from the Memorial Fire Company and making those traffic maneuvers is difficult. And also we've had issues with the crossing guard because they operate at the intersection of St. Andrews and the elementary school parking lot on that side, and with that intersection coming out at a real obtuse angle, real close to where the St. Andrews Road is, it just creates a lot of conflicting movements in the morning. My recommendation, they kind of gave us two alternatives. And figure 2 is what I would recommend is probably the best alternative, because what it does is...
Which one? A or B?
Figure 2, B. B, alternative B. It realigns, it kind of realigns Glory Road and St. Martin's Place to kind of align across from each other and at a right angle to Tuckahoe Road Extension, and then Stagecoach Road would, terminate at St. Martin's, and then you'd make the left and then be able to go out to Tuckahoe Road. That's probably the safest and the best alignment for sight distance and sight triangles, looking to see a safer ingress and egress off of Tuckahoe Road Extension, as well as giving a safer distance with the crossing guard at St. Andrews Place for better movement.
So on the second choice, I'm looking at the picture, they're eliminating the sidewalk, right? That was proposed on the other one?
The
Existing sidewalk to be, maintained / replaced, what does that mean?
that there'll be the sidewalk that I'll say that goes from Stagecoach Road that would go straight through that area. They're going to maintain a sidewalk so that if you're over at St. Martin's, you wouldn't have to walk all the way out to Tuckahoe Road. They're going to keep that sidewalk piece that's closer to the residential properties on that easterly side, that would cut across, so that essentially the Batters Creek Memorial Park would be encapsulated almost with the sidewalk. That park area would be bigger, and it would have a sidewalk that would go around that whole island there. It's not an island, but it's more of a peninsula at this point.
So there'll be a sidewalk around that, let's say, triangle, whatever it is.
Yes.
So I guess where the crossing guard is now, that looks fine, where we have the existing crossing guard. I mean, do we think that there's a safety issue with putting that cross, further down off of Glory Road? It seems like it's far away from...
I think that it's still appropriate to have, because if you're coming up St. Martin's, and you wanted to go towards Glory Road, that would give you that safe location to cross Tuckahoe Road. So I think it would be appropriate to have that crosswalk there.
So Stagecoach will actually end then on St. Martin Street, right?
Correct. Correct.
We need good signage, because there will be people that have been so accustomed to going across. I mean,
I think there'll also be there'll be some chevron signs that you'd put across, so as if you're heading towards, down Stagecoach, that you'd see ahead and saying, hey, there'd be chevrons to alert.
So you're saying the yellow and black thing?
Mm-hmm. Yes. There'll be appropriate signs on that side.
I think we're gonna have to do something there, just because, it has been that way for so long, especially it's dark there, in the evening, but.
Correct.
So you're saying B?
I think that's the, I talked to the county engineer, and that's the one they were leaning towards, but obviously they like to give some alternatives and options.
Well, I went I tried to do it this morning and then also this afternoon, just, to see what it's like with the school traffic and everything else. It's going to be a little congested. Not that little cut through means that much, but for whatever reason, it seems to make it flow better at this point. But I realize they want to close it off for safety reasons, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm just saying it's going to take a little bit of adjustment for folks that are used to, cutting through there.
I agree. And the difference really between the two is if you look on the alternative B that we're talking about, with Glory Road and St. Martin's Place, have their realignment of each of those roads so that they come out at a perpendicular to Tuckahoe Road, and they're really lined up. If you look at alternative A, both of those roads remain in their existing configuration. Right. They're not lined up, and they're at an obtuse angle that's not ideal.
All right, so you're looking for...
Look for a resolution to the county to recommend...
And you're recommending B, correct?
B, right?
B, but I think they called it figure 2, so actually alternative...
Yeah, alternative
B, figure 2, so we might want to reference it both ways, because they have, in their title block, they have alternative B, but it's also labeled as figure 2, so might not hurt just to...
Yeah, because mine says B, but... All right.
Underneath it says figure 2.
Yeah. Okay, so would someone like to make a motion to move forward with this, or are you just going to do a resolution? You need a motion?
Well, I would like the sense of the committee of a motion to move forward.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we accept figure 2, according to the county's realignment.
Second.
Barr?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any idea when they might be doing this? I mean, are we talking a year away, or are we talking...
Probably several years away. 'Cause it's still part of, the overall design. I know that they've gone out and just started doing, they've gotten the surveys done, so this will be part of their design process. If it just has state funds in it, it could be a year, but, if it has federal funding, it could take longer.
Okay. All right, what else do we have?
Okay, item number 12, draft of the 2020 Department of Public Works Resident Information Packet. Morgan has some information on that.
Yes, we're in the process of still reviewing that, and we do have it in a draft form, but we would like the opportunity to discuss it a little further with some recommended changes at our next meeting, if we could.
So the committee should probably review those changes and be prepared at the next meeting. What we do is we adopt a resolution pursuant to our ordinance, and that becomes the information package that goes out with the rules.
And these changes are operational changes that we feel, in my consultation with the Superintendent of Public Works, that'll make the operation a little bit more effective and efficient with respect to some of the collections that we do, both bulk, leaf collection, things of that sort.
Okay. Kind of floating through this agenda, we're a little light tonight, which is great. Would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mayor Plummer?
Yes. There is only one report from the Municipal Department's Division of EMS that will be available upon request at the clerk's office tomorrow. I'll make a motion to accept that report.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Plummer?
Yes.
Carried.
Would anyone like to address the public? Now's the time to do so. I would ask that you would come to the podium, state your name, your address, and your reason for addressing the Township Committee.
Joe Fenton, 102 Pacific Avenue, Memorial, New Jersey. I'm here tonight I will not be able to attend the final reading of Ordinance 019-2019, the Habitat for Humanity transfer. I just have a couple questions that I'd like to ask for the public record before the final adoption of this ordinance. Will there be any formal notification from Habitat for Humanity when the parcel of land and the project begins and they start to clear that area that's going to be transferred to them?
There isn't, if they don't need a variance, it won't be any notification, it'll just be any other homeowner building a house.
Okay, so I could get up one morning, go to work, and come home and the lot could be cleared. And that lot could be cleared 25 feet further than it should be, 50 feet further than it should be, 75 feet.
It's just like any other property owner that would be building a house. If they didn't comply with their zoning permit and they cleared a little bit too much, they would be cited just like any other property owner. We don't anticipate that they did that when they cleared for the other two lots. They cleared well within their, what their zoning permit had, and they complied with the buffers that were set upon on their zoning permit. So I don't anticipate seeing any issues.
So the only recourse then would be a fine from enforcement, and a mature tree line would be gone. So they would be, Habitat for Humanity would be fined.
Well, I mean,
and there's no further
they do have
recourse.
to go, before the code, for, approval of their permit and everything else. So, it's like anything else, you have to trust the developers a little bit when they do a product, when they do a project to build a home. So, we're not out there when somebody clears a lot, but we expect them to follow the plans that are submitted. And in fact, if they don't, then they will be cited. But to make a difference between how we structure the Habitat of Humanity or a regular developer, just isn't really a fair way of doing it. I mean, we expect them to follow the same process that every other builder or developer, does in the township.
And Paul, if I'm not mistaken, has the zoning board not in the past compelled people who have exceeded their buffers to go in and replant?
They have, but, I mean, this wouldn't be going to, I mean, I don't anticipate
This isn't a
needing to-
commercial operation, so the citation would go to municipal court through code enforcement, and that could be a requirement, that could be compelled.
I mean,
believe-
go ahead, I'm sorry.
We had it happen, and I wasn't privy to the result, but there was an issue on clear cutting a lot on Church Road, correct?
Yes.
Or, not Church, Butter Road,
Butter Road.
right? And perhaps you could
And-
explain
and-
what happened.
And municipal court required a revegetation plan, and the builder was required to plan it.
Paul, on their final, their as-built,
What is that?
on their as-built survey, do they have to show the buffer? And we require so many feet?
Currently, we don't require that, though we're in the process of looking at amending the as-built procedures, and we may be increasing what's required to be shown on that survey.
Yeah.
But inspection is made to at least visually look at it to make sure that it's done properly.
But I think what we could do is, after we pass the ordinance, part of the passage would, might require us to say that when you submit your plans, to show the buffer,
Yes.
And I think the other thing, and this is probably more of a working relationship with them, is I know there was some comments that the two lots they cleared, several months before they actually did any construction. Maybe they could align it a little bit better with when they're planning on, constructing or using the lots, just so that, neighbors in the area don't have to look at a vacant lot for an extended period of time.
The current project that's going on Redwood Avenue, I believe it is, the committee itself doesn't have any oversight of that at all now that it's gone, right?
Correct, it's just like any other construction. The construction office reviews the building of the property, and zoning would review any of the setbacks and requirements.
Well, that project's the house that was moved from Avalon to, have any of you looked at it? I mean, it looks like it's just been dumped there, and it looks like it's a house that's off its foundation from Superstorm Sandy. I mean, would Habitat for Humanity have the same ability to clear the lot and just bring a house in from someplace else and just sit it down there for a couple months until they're ready to start building?
No. This was they had a unique opportunity at that point to get that property, and that's the first one they've ever had that way. They've never done that before, so.
Okay, so that opportunity doesn't exist for them
Correct.
in this ordinance?
The ordinance doesn't address that. What that is any homeowner can say, I'm moving a house, and then they have to comply with construction code. If they're not complying with construction code, they can be cited. I don't know the situation with that one, but you can either build a house stick-built, you can buy a modular house that has to comply with construction code and have a new foundation built for the modular house, and you can move a house and then have to have it reviewed by construction code for correct construction and facilities.
Okay, thank you, I understand. The house was moved on the 18th of October. It's been 6 weeks. It looks like it is just jettisoned there. I drove past the project today. There's a stick-built shed or office building, it looks like, a construction trailer, and a nice Habitat for Humanity sign. But it doesn't look like there's anybody there visibly working. So there's obviously no timetable for them to have this done?
There is, under the construction code, a timetable from building permit to construction, and it's all governed by state law. It's about a year.
Thank you. If the project, obviously when the ordinance passes, there's a 24-month, grace period where if they don't do any construction or start to build, that the land would go back to the township? Is that true? I mean, that's what I read in the
I
ordinance.
believe that's part of the ordinance. It wasn't on today's agenda, so I don't have the ordinance in front of me.
Right, and I apologize, I'm not going to be able to attend the next
I believe
meeting.
that there is that.
It's so that it just doesn't linger. We don't donate land that doesn't get used.
Would the committee then have to renegotiate with Habitat for Humanity? Would there be a new ordinance written? How would that?
There would be a new ordinance written. If a deadline's passed, it would be up to the committee whether they want to enforce the deadline, take the land back. Probably my guess is there would be some type of negotiation and questions as to what happened, why, when are you going to do this. But we have a legal right to basically get the property back if they don't build the house on it.
And I guess the last thing I want to say is I don't want to be a Neanderthal neighbor, but if Habitat for Humanity doesn't uphold their part of the bargain, how am I heard, and how loud can I be if I don't have the voice or backing of this committee anymore? I mean, obviously you enforce the ordinance that are on the books, but by that point, it seems like you've basically just wiped your hands of the situation. Enforcement's going to take care of it, but I could have a lingering problem for 2 years.
Yeah, do you want to comment?
I can explain to you that any individual, if they feel the municipality is not enforcing their ordinances, have legal rights themselves. You can also come in and petition them, just like any other member of the community would come in and say there's a violation occurring in a house that's deteriorating and it needs to be addressed by code enforcement. Sometimes we get code enforcement and zoning officer gets complaints all the time that they're alerted to that they have to go out and enforce.
I mean, we've had complaints where construction debris has blown off of the property as they were building homes and stuff, and, you know, when we get complaints, it's turned over to the zoning officer, and then she goes out to pursue it, or the construction officer, to, take a look at the property and make sure that it's cleared and taken care of. So although it doesn't happen all the time, it doesn't necessarily have to be Habitat Humanity. I mean, we have that with regular construction, of homes throughout the township occasionally as well. So, we're certainly cognizant of that. We don't want to put any neighbors in any harm's way from debris or construction things, or, we certainly expect anybody that's building a home to follow the rules.
Right, and I appreciate that. I understand that a little bit better now. I appreciate, as a constituent, the committee hearing my questions and answering them. Thank you very much.
Joe, most of that is governed under VOCA, and the building inspector would be the one, the enforcing agent there. VOCA requirements are that they have to maintain all their trash on the site. It has to be done properly, and then our building inspector would handle that part of it.
Okay.
But again, that's all regulated under both the codes, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Would anyone else like to address the Township Committee? Now is the time to do so. Well, it appears that everyone's looking forward to probably one of the quickest meetings that I've ever been involved with, so
Unbelievable.
I wish you all a happy Thanksgiving and to drive safely home and enjoy the rest of the week. And at this time, I will turn to Committeeman Coggins and entertain a motion into executive session.
I hereby move that a resolution be incorporated into the minutes authorizing the Township Committee to enter into executive session for the following matters pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act. The matters are litigation for tax appeals, potential litigation for site plan violations, contract negotiations for special legal counsel for Cape May County Municipal Utilities Authority for annual appointments, and also personnel. I also include in my motion the estimated time and the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public as follows. It is anticipated that the matters discussed in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Committee that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. With respect to employment and personnel matters, such discussions will be made public if and when formal action is taken or when the individuals involved consent that it can be made public. With respect to contract negotiations, such matters will be made public when negotiations have ceased and there is no longer a reason for confidentiality. With respect to litigation matters, such discussions will be made public when litigation is complete and the applicable appeal period has expired.
Second.
Mr. Parr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
And Mayor Faldo.
Yes. Congratulations again to you, Michelle. We look forward to working with you. Good luck with your new chief responsibilities.